Shalom and good day. This is to Healing 29 back again for an indie, a DC and indie comic review. And in this DC and indie review, I have Action Comics by John Ridley for issue 1084 and Assorted Crisis Events issue 1. I'll now get things ready and organized for the first one that I'll be reviewing. So, starting off with first things first, in relation to Action Comics, does this cover in any way, shape, or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? In some essence, it sort of does, but it doesn't cover like the overall machinations of this story. So for it, I will give it a 5 out of 10, to which it actually sets up any next issue to start to fall into grounds of the Fool's Gold rating system. Next is the area of the internal art, as we have a look around the beginning, middle, and of course the end, and also what is happening story-wise with the characters. So as the story begins, we catch up with Superman, taking on some of the machinations of Manheim himself and some of the stuff that he's been doing. And of course we get to see like some of the other characters that are connected to him, along with Penny, who is also the daughter of Major Disaster, who looks nothing like him, must be an adopted kid. So as the story continues, Manheim gets those ones that he was falsely reforming in a way with the drug that he's using to team up against Superman, or team up against Superman. And we finally learn the truth about what happened with Major Disaster's daughter, that she is in fact responsible for the criminal act committed against someone, to which we also have a bit of a conversation of sorts with Lois Lane. The thing is, Superman could have attended the court on her behalf and given a good word for her, to which she quite likely could have gotten a lighter sentence. That's something that Batman has also been known to do with some of the criminals that he has encountered with in some of his stories. For example, love or hate the writer under Tom King in relation to, I think it was the character of Mr. Freeze, after the events of the Batman wedding crap. There's an example. What makes this scenario any different? None at all. And therefore, of course, Major Disaster still doesn't have to go for jail for his kid. And in the process, she also gets a somewhat lighter sentence because Superman is there to help represent her on her behalf, and also finding out the truth about the situation, as he could be brought up as a witness to the case, or a witness in relation to the case. Yeah, so obviously John Ridley fails at law. Literally. So for the internal art, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move in relation to the area of the area of the story. Considering how far we are, did we get any comic book references? Sure enough, we did, in relation to one of the characters that made an appearance, to Harley Quinn issue 54. Next is the area of time, no indication of time. Next is the area of locations, to which we had somewhere brought up, which I think is absolutely fucking stupid. And it shows how a deadbeat brain John Ridley seems to have with some of these locations. But he managed to put in Canada for the other. He could have been a little bit more creative, like with the place that he wanted the name as somewhere. He could have put on the outskirts of Smallville, for example, or on the outskirts of Metropolis. I think that would work. And it would show a little bit more creativity. Something that John Ridley seems to lack in. Especially when it comes to his John Ridley story, to which Superman gets butt raped in a communist prison. Yeah. Next is the cast of characters, consisting of Clark Kent Superman. We had, of course, Mannerheim, Penny, Major Disaster, and Lois Lane. For the overall story rating, I give it a 5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into Assorted Crisis Events. Let's see if that one did any better than this. So, as we move into first things first, does this cover in any way, shape, or form connect to something that is happening inside with the story? Sure enough, it does, to which it gets a 7 out of 10, and we do get to see this character and also some of the other characters that are shown on the cover, but not in bulk. So now it's time to move into the area of the internal art as we have a look around the beginning, middle, of course, the end, and also what's happening story-wise with the main character. Oh, and before I do move into it, I want to show this bit, which is on the back of the book, which lets us know where it's taking place, and also a little bit about the writer for the story. So as the story begins in the area of Mingling, we meet up with the character of Ashley. We learn her name throughout the story, and we learn that she has this clock, but this particular clock is also seen to be affecting the very world that she lives in. And we get to see like a number of events that take place. As we start to move towards the middle of the story, we get to see her reach something that she believes to be a hole, but we learn that it's not exactly what it appears. I must admit, the character herself of actually reminded me of Irma from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I wonder if the writer of this story might have actually been inspired in making her character appearance like this. Just Irma with red hair to look a little bit like April O'Neil of sorts. And as things get crazier within the story, her view of the world around her even gets crazier. So for the internal art, I give it a 6 out of 10, as I felt like it was a big mess in a lot of places. Understanding that, yes, it is set on a number of crisis events, I do think they could have given some cleaned up panels, at least for some of the pages, or a little bit more for some of the pages. Next is the area of the story. So the story rating consists of time, location, and cast. First is the area of time. Did we get any indication of when this was taking place time-wise? No, we didn't. Next is the locations. Of course, it's taking place in a town called Mingling. But some of the places that she traveled to was a cemetery, a subway, and we also got to see a film set of sorts. So what this freaking clock is doing in this world with Ashley, it is crazy. Like, seriously crazy. Would I be interested in checking out the next issue? And I'm a little bit unsure. I think I might want to wait for reviews on the second issue before I pick it up. Next is the cast of characters. We met the character of Ashley, who seemed to be the main character of this story. Of course, the female, I guess, reporter of such. That's even if she was a reporter. I'm still not too sure as to what she does, but I do know that she has a connection to this particular clock in the story. And of course, we meet someone by the name of Mr. Suleiman. For the overall story rating, I give it a 6 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.